U.S. economy unexpectedly shrinks on import surge ahead of Trump tariffs. The U.S. economy unexpectedly contracted in the first 3 months of the year according to fresh data published Wednesday, due largely to a surge in imports as businesses and consumers stockpiled ahead of the introduction of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. The gross domestic product of the world's largest economy decreased at an annual rate of 0.3% in the first quarter, after growing 2.4% in the final months of 2024, according to an estimate from the U.S. Commerce Department. Wednesday's data was sharply below the market consensus estimate of 0.4% growth, according to briefing. The downturn in real GDP in the first quarter reflected an upturn in imports, a deceleration in consumer spending, and a downturn in government spending, the Commerce Department said in a statement. U.S. financial markets reacted negatively to the news, with all 3 major indices opening sharply lower on Wall Street. In a social media post, Trump blamed his predecessor Joe Biden for the bad economic news. "This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's," the U.S. president wrote in a post to his Truth Social account. "Our country will boom, but we have to get rid of the Biden overhang. This will take a while, has nothing to do with tariffs," he said. "When the boom begins, it will be like no other. Be patient," he added. The figures were published on the 101st day since Trump's return to office on January 20th. In that time, he has announced several rounds of tariffs, laying out plans in March to impose sweeping levies on top trading partners from early April, in a bid to reset U.S. trade relations. The introduction of tariffs sparked a sell-off in financial markets, sending volatility surging to levels not seen since the COVID-19 pandemic and spooking investors. Usually, government policy doesn't change that much, particularly not in the first 100 days of a presidency, George Washington University economics professor Tara Sinclair told AFP before the data was published. But this one's different. "I think it's pretty clear that there were dramatic policy changes that are directly weakening the economy," she said. 100 days into his presidency, Donald Trump's red light, green light tariffs are shrinking our economy, with businesses stockpiling imports in anticipation of tariff doomsday, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren said in a statement after the GDP data was published. Following April's dramatic market movement, the Trump administration announced a 90-day pause to the higher tariffs for dozens of countries to allow for trade talks, while maintaining a baseline 10% rate for most countries. It also announced sector-specific measures on steel, aluminum, and automobiles, and parts not made in the United States, and new sweeping tariffs totaling 145% on China. Beijing responded with its own steep targeted duties against U.S. goods.